Warside is a retro-inspired, turn-based tactics wargame coming to all platforms, including the Switch. If you're a fan of the classic Advanced Wars series, the inspiration here is pretty obvious. But the big question is, how well does this modern successor hold up? I was fortunate enough to get a key from the developers to play the full campaign early, and in this video I'll be sharing my thoughts on that, along with how the combat and gameplay feels overall. I'll also go over the other features that are set to be coming when Warside releases on April 14th. The campaign in Warside spans over 20 missions across 4 distinct biomes: ice, desert, forest, and the toxic wasteland. There are 4 available difficulty settings, but be warned, even the standard mode can be surprisingly challenging. Things start out simple enough, teaching you the basics of combat, which I'll get into next, with small skirmishes against enemy forces, eventually turning into massive battles across land, sea, and air, sometimes with multiple factions fighting it out at the same time. All sides do share the same basic units and groups: infantry, tanks, jets, and naval vessels, with just color swaps for skins, but they also bring their own unique toys to the fight. For example, the bikes with great movement range and rocket launchers on them, or the gigantic Rhino, which doesn't do a lot of damage but can push units into mountains or rivers to instantly delete them. In addition, each faction has their own unique commanders that you'll meet as you progress the campaign and go through the different biomes. These commanders aren't just faces. They can all affect combat directly through specific individual power-up abilities. EMP blasts, bonus armor, and vehicle repairs are just some of the effects that are available. I will say that the story is nothing deep or amazing, and the characters' banter and dialogue can lean to the cheesy side a bit, but it all fits the game's light-hearted approach. Warside doesn't feel like it takes itself too seriously, and that's something I can appreciate. I say as the bad guys go full no Russian on my scientists. Missions do mix it up with objectives like that, escorting scientists, capture and defending, and even a couple covert missions, though most of the time they still boil down to eliminate all enemies, which can feel a bit repetitive after a while. The biomes and commanders add in some visual flair and help to keep things fresh, but the biggest strength of the campaign, in my opinion, is probably the pacing. It does a great job of bringing you along and working things in slowly to pick it up, but also throws some curveballs in at the right times and ramps up just fast enough to keep you on your toes and coming back for more. And let's be honest, the story is not going to be the main attraction for most players anyways. Which brings us to the combat. Fast, fluid, turn-based tactics. This is modern Advanced Wars, all the way down to the animation styles of the units fighting each other. These mini battles are crisp and well done, but if you're in a hurry, you can skip them or turn them off altogether, which is a nice option to have. Most maps will start you out in opposite positions with unclaimed resources like cities and oil rigs to capture and fuel your economy. Each turn, you'll get cash from these resources and use that to continue building infantry and vehicles for the war machine. Every unit has a distinct counter, and a screen showing strengths and weaknesses can be pulled up at any time. Health is measured with these bars, each one equal to 10%, but this can make damage and attack values a bit tricky, as most of the time they are not evenly divisible percentages. Other strategic considerations include terrain, with forest tiles providing more cover and vehicles with tracks able to move further on rough terrain than vehicles with tires, as well as the first strike advantage, meaning the units initiating attacks get a damage boost against the ones defending. These mechanics reward positioning and a little bit more of an aggressive playstyle, pushing the pace and keeping battles moving. I want to talk about the infantry because it's actually in an interesting spot here. Only they can capture cities, but with no anti-vehicle options, they tend to be outgunned 1-to-1. Map control is crucial though, so you have to have them, and there's a couple strategies that can be used to make them more valuable. The biggest example of this, and a big change from Advanced Wars, is transport units, which can load and carry infantry or vehicles far distances with a nice extra perk. Units inside the transport vehicle can attack the same turn that they're unloaded, as long as it's a separate turn from when they were loaded in. Add on top of this that some transport units can attack, and this makes them golden, and a great tactical option that can be used to your advantage to move or capture resources quickly. Overall, I think the combat feels good and pretty well balanced, but there are a few quality of life features I would like to see. It's nice being able to view any unit's move and attack ranges easily. However, I'd love to have a confirm action option just to stop accidental movements or attacks, and only having mouse edge scrolling with no keyboard controls for that feels feels like maybe a side effect of this also being a console and Switch game. Also, having to pull up the pause menu to end your turn or use commander abilities is a strange oversight that's supposed to be fixed, but wasn't in this particular build. Other features set to be coming at launch that weren't included in the preview build are the map editor and multiplayer elements, including a co-op mode and up to 4-player PvP with 14 unique commanders to choose from. Cross-platform support for multiplayer is a huge feature and should be coming this summer when Warside is scheduled to launch on consoles and Switch. Honestly, I was a little disappointed that the map editor wasn't included because I really wanted to check it out. Like I said earlier, the campaign is definitely fun and challenging, but it's probably not what's going to keep most players coming back. The multiplayer, co-op, and community map elements will be what determines the lifespan for this game, and I really do hope that it comes out well because the gameplay is pretty solid. I also couldn't find any official confirmation of a skirmish mode versus AI being included, which in my opinion would be a pretty big misstep to not have in this game. If those things interest you, check back here on launch April 14th when I'll update my pinned comment below, confirming any of the quality of life changes, an AI skirmish mode, and the map editor. In the meantime, for more strategy and tactics game reviews and breakdowns, click through to the videos that are on screen now.